This is Strange New Trek, a podcast about the life and times of Captain Christopher Pike. And now your hosts. Welcome back, everybody, to Strange New Trek. I am your host, Professor Jeremy Vilmur. I don't even remember who I am this week. I am joined by my chief engineer, Chris Noonien-Singh, and my first officer, number one dog, Commander Dog, who you will hear pacing about, looking for more peanut butter, but the replicators are out, so she's got a surprise coming. Any additional sound you hear in the background is this once every 30-year storm we have here in California that has just dumped buckets of rain on us, and apparently it's even snowing in Southern California. So don't believe the Eagles when they start singing.
Didn't they just lose a big game? I wouldn't trust them anyway.
I wouldn't trust. Not right now, I wouldn't. Oh, man. All right. Well, this week we are wrapping up Season 2 of Discovery.
Oh, my God.
Sorrow.
Finally.
Yeah. Season 2 of Discovery. Such sweet sorrow. This has been a rough one, and it's not even that bad. That's the thing. It just makes you really wish Strange New Worlds would come back. Oh man.
Yep.
Yeah. This week, the USS Discovery gets into a full-on brawl with Control, but with the aid of some unlikely pals, they manage to hold their own. Meanwhile, Michael Burnham is forced to confront a brutal reality. Her hairstylist has been replaced by a replicator. On top of that, we get what feels very much like a sneak preview of Strange New Worlds, even though the show hadn't been planned yet. Chris, what's going on?
No, I agree with you. Leaving Discovery is such sweet sorrow. Part 2.
Part 2. Oh, man. Yeah, you know, again, it's not that it's a bad episode in any way. There are a few things in here where I go all grown man baby, get all butthurt about, hey, that doesn't seem like Star Trek, but they're very few and very small.
Actually, my wife looked over at this episode while I was watching it earlier, and she was like, this is very Star Wars-y right now.
Mm-hmm. I had the same feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this week, Burnham and Spock rush into action, but Captain Pike orders a channel open to all ships and reminds them that they have one job: to get Burnham and Discovery through to the wormhole into the future. The crew of the Discovery scrambles to synthesize and assemble the individual components of the future suit, and Burnham, I don't know what else to call it.
The wasp suit. That's what it looks like. It looks like an unpainted wasp suit from
it does. Yeah, it does. It looks like that. It looks like a suit from like an anime from the 80s or something too, with those weird wings.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. And Burnham asks Reno how long before the time crystal is charged. Reese scans the Section 31 fleet. Now here's the thing. This is part of that deal. Do you remember like when Picard and the Federation fought the Borg and there were like 9 ships?
Yeah.
To fight the Borg? Well, these guys, there's like 36,000 ships involved in this fight for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with those tiny drones that Section 31 has.
Yeah, it's the Enterprise's shuttle bay must be a lot larger than I realized too.
Oh yeah, because they basically are treating this thing like a battle star and just launching many quote unquote fighters off of it.
Yeah. Rescans the Section 31 fleet and finds one life sign, Leland. Giorgio confirms that they are being controlled by drones, nasty ones, and Saru offers some words of advice: be extremely subtle, even the point of formlessness. That's very Bruce Lee of you. Bryce reports an incoming transmission from Leland, who threatens to kill the crew if they don't surrender their ships. Saru orders the channel opened, and the Section 31 ships launch thousands of drones. That was not my mom. That was just an alarm. Saru orders the channel open, and the Section 31 ships launch thousands of drones at Leland's ship. So I don't like to distinguish between old Trek and new Trek, because still to me, old Trek is the original series and new Trek is everything else. But I've noticed that people are calling this like streaming era new trek or something. But one thing I've noticed is that early on, they really, really went towards large fleets of ships. Picard season 1 ended with like 200 Romulan ships versus 200 copy-paste Federation ships. This ends with tons of ships bearing down on each other. So I'm hoping they kind of get away from that because, like, I think, if I remember right, during the time of Jim Kirk, there were only like 13 ships that were considered to be starships.
Well, I guess look what happened here.
Yeah, well, there's nothing left. Between this and the Klingon War, between this and the Klingon War, there's only a few ships left.
That may actually be the answer to that question, though.
You know what? It could very well be. That would explain a lot.
Well, plus, why doesn't Jim Kirk talk about it? Well, it was highly classified.
Highly classified. Was he even a lieutenant at this point? I don't know. We'll have to get out of the calendar, I guess, and look that up. Poe leads the charge, blasting through the drones, threatening the Discovery.
Poe does? Oh, yeah.
Poe does. Yeah, Poe Dameron.
Yeah, I'm thinking back to my Star Wars comment. I'm like, wait, Poe?
yeah, because they went ahead and cribbed one of the names, too, you know? So I've been reading a lot of in preparation for what I'm planning for next week, I've been reading a lot of the why Discovery is its own universe and can't be part of regular continuity. And I think they might be starting to win in my head. I think I've been exposed to the enemy too long because I'm seeing too many problems. Saru orders Reese to set the phasers to automatic targeting and maximum power, and then instructs Owo to bring the emergency generators online. Giorgio suggests inviting Leland aboard, but Saru retorts that his first priority was getting the Discovery to safety with Burnham. A group of drones cease their attack and take position off Discovery's port bow. Pike orders the Enterprise to place itself between the drones and the Discovery and lock onto the lead ship's shield generators.
It just seems like something weird with this scene. Like the Enterprise is supposed to fend off from all of those drones. You know, we've seen the Enterprise over the years take beatings, man, but thousands of drones? I don't know, man.
The whole thing just seems off, you know?
A little bit.
Burnham dons her suit and moves towards the shuttle bay force field. Spock tells the Discovery bridge that they are preparing to launch and instructs the ship to form a cocoon around Burnham until she reaches safe distance and opens the wormhole.
Mm-hmm.
Saru counts down. Burnham readies herself. Spock's shuttle launches. Burnham takes off running, like bionically fast. The suit propels her into the maelstrom of the battle. Burnham narrowly avoids being hit by flying debris, and Pike orders all ships to form a protective barrier to ensure Burnham reaches her target. Spock and Burnham reach safe distance, but the suit's navigation system appears to be stuck in the present. Burnham realizes that she touched the crystal, and this is how it all began. Pike orders blast shields activated in Deck 5, Section 2, and orders Man to deploy the Dot 7 repair drones, who look a lot like Rosie from the Jetsons.
All right.
That's all I could think of was, they have house cleaning robots like the Jetsons. See, that one we have never seen. Now, I'm not going to say they don't exist. We have never seen repair drones in all of Star Trek before, though.
Yeah. In one of the seasons of Discovery, you see him again. It might be the third or fourth season, but
yeah. I'm not saying they're a terrible idea, but in the middle of this weird battle that doesn't feel like Star Trek, and then you throw in Rosie bots.
Yeah.
They're just like, okay, all right. So now we got house cleaning bots here, okay. But you know what? We did see house cleaning bots when Hugh beat up Tyler, though. Remember those little ones were buzzing around cleaning stuff up?
Oh, yeah.
So I guess we did see a hint of them at some point.
I mean, it would make sense, like, to have something like that on board.
Yep. Cornwell and Number One head over to where there's been a torpedo lodged into the ship, and they decide to disarm it themselves, but the shields are failing. And then back outside the ship, Burnham is having no luck with the temporal navigation. The Enterprise is being torn apart around Non and Giorgio when a Klingon cleave ship suddenly decloaks, tearing several Section 31 vessels apart. And then Saru's sister, Sarana, piloting one of the Baul fighters, calls on him. Chris, do you want to make a reference to anything already? You know,
This is kind of like I don't know if I've ever talked about this show before on here, but this reminds me a lot of an episode of Doctor Who called Day of the Doctor. I know that's the first time I've ever said that.
The only time it's ever come up.
Hold your surprise.
Yeah.
How? But like with her, like how is she doing that? Like she just figured out.
They were living in paper huts a week ago.
Right. All of a sudden, she's an ace fighter pilot.
Well, I guess the same way that those airplane pilots from World War II were suddenly star fighters extraordinaire or something, right?
Yeah, lots of training and not dying.
Yeah. Oh, man. Pike is relieved to see Chancellor L'Rell with Tyler at her side. L'Rell orders her forces to destroy the enemy armada, and Saru warns Serana that the Section 31 ships have altered course to intercept her fleet, because she brought more than one.
Yeah. And now, this is the last time we see her at all, I think. I don't think we see her again. I would really like to see her back on Strange New Worlds. I did actually come to really like her character.
Well, that might be interesting to pull her out somewhere. I wonder if Strange New Worlds is going to work pretty hard on kind of being its own show and not referencing much if they don't have to.
Yeah, actually, if they're still moving forward with the Section 31 show, she'd more likely be on that one. Either way, though.
Yeah, no, it would be nice to, if you're going to establish a character, you take the time to write them in a way that people like them. Bring them back some point.
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing wrong with that. Saru explains that the Klingons and the Kelpians were joining the fight, and the signal on Kaminar was intended to prepare them for the battle to come. Burnham admits that she has seen them fail and had seen them all die, but she had jumped to a future in order to avoid it. She had to go back and send 5 earlier signals to close the loop so control could not evolve. All right, so now we're getting into some weird timey-wimey stuff.
Yep.
So it turns out, or it's going to turn out, or it is turning out that Burnham is the one who went around igniting the signals to get them to the right.
Well, at least some of them.
Oh, at least some of them. So that way they'll do all the things they need to do to lock the correct course in. Leland/Control is unable to access the sphere data, and Giorgio and Non force him to open the doors and fire on him. Cornwall and Number 1 arrive on Deck 5 just as Pike asks for an update and explain that the torpedo's secondary detonation has been triggered. Like, I kind of admire what's coming up for this character, like, oh, what a brave death kind of thing, but at the same time, I'm like, what, you couldn't just let her out? You couldn't just, oh no, there's only a door handle on one side. So you tell her, hey, Admiral, open the door, come on out here, and then shut it again. And we'll just walk down the hall. We'll just go right over here. And a torpedo that can penetrate the ship's hull, you're going to tell me just like if it blows up in a bathroom, it'll be fine?
There was something about the whole situation that required her to stay. I don't remember.
Her contract was over.
Probably.
Yeah. Oh, they explain the torpedo secondary detonation had been triggered. Tilly and Nelson bring Stamets to sickbay, and Dr. Culber promises Stamets that he will be fine. Stamets fades into consciousness, and Culber promises they will go wherever they go together. So now we can at least get past the two of them, like, breaking up.
Yeah.
It was rather sudden, but what the hell, I guess, sometimes when you're about to die, some things make more sense than they did before.
No, I bet.
Yeah.
I've never been faced with a situation like that, but I assume, yeah, that's probably right.
And a confrontation of your own mortality brings certain things into focus. Hopefully, though, by the time they come to your attention, you haven't already screwed them up so bad that you can't recover from them, kind of like I did with some situations in my life.
Happens to the best of us, bud.
Yeah, I know. It happens to us all. What's that thing, hindsight is a thing, foresight's not, kind of thing,
Yeah.
Burnham calculates all 5 jumps, but a weapon impact knocks her aside and damages the shuttle. Spock urges Burnham to go immediately, and Burnham activates the first jump. Burnham is propelled through space and time and appears before her past self in the wreckage of the USS Hiawatha. See, we had to get Jet Reno, so she had to go there.
Yep.
And then she's yanked back to the second signal on Terralisium. Leland/Control fights Giorgio and Non aboard the Discovery until he goes to make repairs to the shields in Zone 4. See, Giorgio alone should be whipping the hell out of him. She shouldn't need that Barzan chick with her to do it, you know?
Yeah. They don't, they don't use her to her full capability on this show.
No, they really don't.
At least not very often.
No. I mean, she's, you know what? She's great at the snarky, blah, 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 blah. But when you've got Michelle Yeoh, you can't forget that you've got like a super tiny badass on your hands either, you know?
Yep. That is accurate.
Yeah. Till he goes to make repairs to the shields in Zone 4. Meanwhile, the artificial gravity begins to fail in the area where Giorgio and Non fight with Leland. Giorgio distracts him with a phaser blast to the face. Hey, you! On the Enterprise, Cornwell and Number One work on the torpedo, and Number One suggests inputting a conflicting command in the torpedo's guidance system to shut it down until it acquires another target. Pike orders Number One back to the bridge. He's going to head down and try to deal with Cornwell. Burnham arrives at the fourth and fifth signals and returns to the present. She hails Discovery and tells them to set coordinates for Terra Elysium 930 years in the future, and then sends a signal that will let them follow her to the other side. Pike and Cornwell continue working feverishly on the torpedo, but nothing they have tried is working. Cornwell volunteers to pull the emergency lever for the blast door, sacrificing herself to seal off the ship and contain the damage once the torpedo detonated.
They're putting up a blast door. Now, I can't imagine a blast door would help with a photon torpedo like detonating like that close to it, but, who knows?
Yeah. You can't keep a stinky bathroom from leaking into the rest of the house, but, photon torpedo, yeah, we can lock one of those down, no problem. Saru calls Burnham, telling her they have run out of time. Burnham tells Spock to return to the Discovery, but Spock cannot leave because the shuttle's engines were disabled by the weapon impact, and the Discovery is too damaged to risk lowering her shields to bring him aboard. As Leland Control continue to try to break out of the reaction cube, Giorgio magnetizes it, just as Spock had done to Gant aboard the Section 31 ship. At the same time, Pike returns to the bridge of the Enterprise. As Spock reports that the shuttle is disabled and he cannot return to the Discovery. Pike orders him to hold position and asks Saru...
What the hell else is he going to do?
I don't know. Hey, just stay right there. And that's an order. And asks Saru on the status of Discovery shields. Till he is able to bring the shields back up to 40%, more than enough to see them through. Spock is beamed back to the Enterprise, and Burnham activates the suit for the jump. As the battle continues to rage, the Red Angel takes flight once again, and Saru orders Detmer to follow her signal. Pike orders all ships to clear the path as the drone ships attempt to stop Discovery, and bids farewell to his friend Saru and his family aboard the Discovery. In sickbay, Culber tells the unconscious Stamets that they were on their way. In engineering, Leland Control tells Giorgio that it will not end there. Giorgio smugly corrects him and also tells him that the magnetization will be painful and that she would like to hear him start screaming. As the nanotechnology in Leland's body is pulled to the floor, Control obliges her. And with Leland disabled, the Section 31 fleet is dead in the water, much like the ships at the end of Phantom Menace. And Pike orders Amin to open fire. Using the Enterprise's phasers, Amin finishes off the defenseless drone ships. Giorgio reports to the bridge that Leland is dead and Control is neutralized. All around, those who were brought together for the battle watch the Red Angel guide the Discovery into the wormhole, Poe from her shuttle, Serana from the Ba'ul fighter, Laurel and Tyler from the Cleve ship, and Pike and Spock from the Enterprise. The Discovery crew begins to feel the wormhole effects as they follow, Burnham in. As the Discovery enters, the wormhole closes, the Enterprise, a portion of her saucer destroyed, flies past, joining the rest of the fleet. Okay, so this is the longest ending I've ever seen on a Star Trek show, I think. The part coming up here.
Yeah.
Pike, Number One, and Spock and Tyler are all debriefed by Starfleet Command, who promises to reform Section 31 and name Tyler as its new commander, because, we all want a double agent Klingon in charge of our intelligence operations. Spock warns that the destruction of the Discovery does not entirely eliminate the problem. We've managed not to reveal the truth of Discovery's fate to Starfleet, and we have sworn never to speak your name in the presence of others, yet I feel you with me always, and every night I look to the stars for your signal. Spock is thinking outwards towards Burnham, Somehow he sees little flares go off from way too far away for light to actually travel to him that quickly. The Enterprise D is in dry dock being repaired and refit. When Spock arrives on the bridge, he has most of his normal haircut back, or at least it would appear. Everybody's in their Discovery but wrongly colored original series suits. Everybody sits in their interviews with Section 31. I think I love number one's reaction to everything the best, where she's just like very short, very curt. Basically, Spock, when his interview with Section 31 kind of gives the rundown that everything's going to have to stay a secret. They're going to have to never speak a word. There was no mushroom spore drive. The Discovery died in a firefight. The entire crew was killed with it. He'll never mention his sister, understanding why we never heard about her. Overall, tying up a lot of loose ends that I think people were worried about the continuity of Discovery.
Yeah, I agree with that. For all you can say about the negatives or the positives of Discovery on the Star Trek canon, I don't feel like they mess with it too bad. And they did do their best to tie up any loose ends they might have had with it, with the continuity anyway, for the most part.
And I think originally when Discovery was first being put together, it was almost kind of like a reboot's not quite the right word, but it was going to be like a starting over, or not referencing things that had already existed. Like I've read quotes from people saying that, look, we're not going to see Spock or the Enterprise. This is going to be its own thing, which all turned out to be wrong eventually. But
yeah, very quickly, actually.
Real quickly. But overall, I think season 2 of Discovery went quite well. I liked some of the member berries they fed us on it, you know.
I remember.
Yeah. Dealing with the continuity errors. Of course, the cast that they gave us that would go on to Strange New Worlds were all fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
And strangely enough, pushing Discovery well into the future actually handled a few of the things that fans were concerned about. They wanted to see what happened in the future of Starfleet, not in another prequel, until they got Strange New Worlds and they realized that they did want a prequel.
They probably could have set Discovery that far in the future to begin with, and it wouldn't have affected very much, except for obviously the second season. But like the first season could be relatively unchanged.
Yeah, no, a lot of that you could do still mostly the same.
Yeah.
Especially dropping us in 1,000 years in the future, there'd be a whole new status quo we need to learn about. All right, so with that being said, that wraps up season 2 of Discovery. You're right, Chris. We should have just went ahead and slammed that into the previous episode. But this,
I mean, this episode was, or the previous episode was a lot of build up, and then this whole episode was like nonstop action.
Yeah, it doesn't stop for a minute. That is one thing I will give this episode, is that when it gets going, it just goes. It just puts the pedal to the metal and runs.
The space battles, however improbable they seem, did look really visually nice.
Yes. If you didn't have any sense of Star Trek, if you didn't have any pre-rendered judgments about what a Star Trek battle looked like, this episode would look fantastic to you. If you're like me, though, and you keep going, like, God, they didn't even need that many ships to fight the Borg. The Borg are the Borg, you know?
Well, they were, they were fighting with newer ships, though. Bigger ships, even.
Yeah, this is true, yeah.
Yeah, the Enterprise D is way bigger than the A.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If you ever see those posters where they put them up, like, size-wise comparisons, they're gigantic differences.
Yeah, so, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Because, the Enterprise D has enough firepower that's probably comparable to a couple of ships in this era.
Could very well be. That is very true.
That's my headcanon. I'm sticking to it.
No. I would agree with you. All right. So in 2 weeks, we will be back to talk about an article from Ex Astra Scientia called The Discoverse Continuity Problems. We're just going to kind of go over some of the high points and low points and talk about where some of the perceived continuity issues lie with Discovery and New Trek in general, because there are Strange New Worlds things in there as well. And I am looking forward to that episode, because we get to conjecture a little bit more and not just report on what happened in an episode.
Oh, yeah. And that, that's my favorite thing to do. And in that spirit, I only briefly skimmed the article just to give Jeremy a thumbs up. that I was cool with doing an episode on it. But otherwise, when we record the episode, I'll be reacting to all this in mainly real time.
Yeah. So that should be fun to do. And then let's see, I don't think we're ready to launch yet, but for those of you who are horror movie fans, we are going to be releasing another show here pretty soon. Chris, you want to give them a quick rundown?
Oh, yeah. We recorded our pilot episode for Return to Crystal Lake because we're getting a new Friday the 13th TV show on Peacock with Brian Fuller at the helm, who at least was the one to help kick off Discovery. So there's a little bit of overlap there. But yeah, we recorded that. I'll have that edited soon. And yeah, I would imagine it'll be up in the next couple weeks.
Yep. So if you are a horror movie or Friday the 13th fans, keep an eye out for that. And in the meantime, if you have any questions or comments or theories, please hit us up on our website at strangenewtrekshow.com or follow the links in the show notes for the episode in the podcast app of your choice. Please rate and review us, /like and subscribe wherever you find us or listen to us. It's one small step for you, but a giant leap for the show. I want to give a special thanks to Miguel Esparza for the Strange New Trek theme, and to Will Harding for all of his hard work in the YouTube department. And if you are of the praying or thoughtful sort, keep Will in your prayers and thoughts this week. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to set your phasers to stun, and to join us next time when we're on to the next Planet of the Week.